Okay, so the Indiana Pacers beat the New York Knicks last night, and I already knew Indiana was going to advance. First and foremost, let's talk about last night's game. Uh, it was a deep hole for the New York Knicks to overcome to win the series. I understand that people were excited that they won the game previous to the game that they played tonight, but it was pretty much a wrap from there. Plus, if New York would have somehow, some way would have advanced and they would have played the Oklahoma City Thunder, that would have been a short series. Between rest time and how the New York Knicks play basketball wise compared to the Oklahoma City Thunder, uh, that would have been a short series, maybe a sweep, possibly 5 games. Okay, so let's move forward to the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm gonna give y'all some pros and cons before I give you my final verdict. Uh, the Indiana Pacers, a lot of people slept on the Indiana Pacers. I, for one, was one of those individuals. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you guys that I watch Indiana Pacers basketball all season long. They have some underrated players on that side of the court. They love to push the ball up and down the court. That kind of fits the style of the Oklahoma City Thunder, but we'll talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder a little bit later. Why I think, why I said that. But I think there's some players and some matchups Indiana can utilize to make, to maybe steal a game here or there. This is definitely going to be a deep series. I don't think this is going to be a sweep. Possibly 6 games, maybe 7 games. If I would be totally shocked if it was a sweep, or 5 games, unless the Indiana Pacers has some injury problems with their players, or they're just not into the game. I can see, which I don't, suspect Indiana Pacers not being involved into the game. But, injuries play a huge part, not only with the Indiana Pacers, but also with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I see some matchups Oklahoma can take. Indiana can utilize to their advantage. They do have experience on that side of the court. They do have players that have, that won championships, have playoff experience, things of that nature. And, experience plays a factor on whether or not which team is going to win. I don't think it's a huge factor, but it does play a factor. Style of game, I think, plays a huge factor for either team. But like I said, the Indiana Pacers, they love to run up and down the court. They also love to shoot it. They kind of remind me of the Golden State Warriors. They love to play that small ball, that Warriors ball, where they're constantly shooting the ball. They're not as advanced as the Golden State Warriors, but they kind of remind me of that. They're the poor man version of the Golden State Warriors. I know a lot of people are gonna trounce me in the comment section. Fair, have at it. But like I told you guys, I wasn't totally involved in Indiana Pacers basketball, okay? I don't think a lot of people are. And shout out to the small market teams. I don't think a lot of people are talking about, this NBA Finals is not a large market, a large city team that's going to be represented in the NBA Finals. You got the Indiana Pacers, that's a small market team. And you got the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's also a small market team as well. So let's move on over to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think talent-wise, they're more talented than the Indiana Pacers. Okay, I feel like the Indiana Pacers, they do have players that are talented, but overall, the Oklahoma City Thunder has more talent on their side of the court. Now they do have a lot of young players that this is their first time ever being in the NBA Finals, but that's pretty much, you can pretty much say about that about them in the playoffs. A lot of these young players don't have a lot of experience in the playoffs, and they advanced all the way to the NBA Finals. So you can't really use that as whether, well, obviously the Indiana Pacers are going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder because they don't have a lot of young guys. But, that would have played a factor in the playoffs, but now they're in the finals. Even though the finals is a different monster, I get all that, but I don't think they're going to be scared of the moment. I don't feel like the Indiana Pacers are going to be scared of the moment. But overall, I give the Oklahoma City Thunder the advantage because they have talent on that side of the basketball. Okay, matchups. I think both of these clubs have matchup problems for either team. But the difference between Oklahoma City Thunder, if they have to play small ball, they'll play small ball. If they want to play their bigs, they can play their bigs. Chad, is a big, even though he doesn't play like a big, but he's a factor. He's a factor that you just can't leave him unattended. He will knock down those long jumpers and he will knock down those threes. So you have to put him in the cards. Okay. So the versatility with Oklahoma City Thunder, I like it better than the Indiana Pacers. Okay. Stars, I would have to give it to Indiana slightly over Oklahoma City Thunder. I know they have the MVP of the regular season with Oklahoma City Thunder, but when you look at the players that Indiana have, they're proven veteran. They're proven players. They're young. They do have playoff experience. They have a couple of guys that won championships with Indiana, so you have to play that as a factor too. So overall talent, I give to Oklahoma City. But if you want to talk about stars that's going to shine in the moment, I would have to lean a little bit towards Indiana. They kind of been there and done that, okay? So, and versatility. Oklahoma City Thunder is more versatile than the Indiana Pacers. I think the Indiana Pacers can only play one way. The Oklahoma City Thunder can play multiple ways. They can play big. They can play small, okay? They have a deep roster. They have a pretty decent bench. They don't go all the way down to the bench, but if they have to, they will. Indiana, after the eighth player is a question mark further down. Okay, so I would give the nod to Oklahoma City Thunder. So this is my final verdict. I don't want to make this video any longer. I feel like the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to win the NBA Finals. Okay. I feel like the refs are going to play it down the middle, but I do think the refs are going to have favorites, and I do feel like the refs, their favorite is the Oklahoma City Thunder, okay? Which will be it'll be a huge achievement for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, they have, as far as an organization, this is not new to them. They did do this many moons ago with Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. And they got rid of those guys and quickly turned it around. Sam Presti should get an award. I think he gets an award every year. They should just make the award the Sam Presti Award, okay? Because what he did and what he had to overcome when they couldn't keep James Harden, Kevin Durant went out in free agency and signed with the Golden State Warriors, and the rest they say is history. Russell Westbrook at least stayed, but he knew his time was up. He left. This man has been a magician with the draft. He's been hiding. I mean, he's been collecting picks like a squirrel collecting nuts, preparing for winter. Sam Presti has done an awesome job with this organization. And if you have to compare, and I don't like to compare, but I feel like this is a better roster than when they had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Because, I'm going to explain to you why. You had to figure out who was going to be the man when those three guys were there. They was pretty much sharing the responsibility. Kevin Durant, shared it with Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook shared it with James Harden, and I think that was an undermise for that ball club, and why they didn't win a championship. Okay. It just seems like everyone wanted to share the responsibilities of being the man, and they pretty much play similar. James Harden plays pretty much eerie similar to Russell Westbrook. And if you don't believe me, when those two, when Russell Westbrook went to the Houston Rockets and James Harden was there, they didn't do any better with those two guys on the same court. Those guys can't play off the ball. If you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have several pieces that can play with the ball and without the ball. The versatility is endless. They have an endless combination of versatility with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and you're going to see it at full display in these finals. But I do give it to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I do believe also the ratings are not going to be that great. Because people wanted the Celtics. The people that, you got a lot of casual fans that the only reason why they watch NBA basketball is for the Lakers, the Celtics, the Golden State Warriors. If you want to put the Bucks in there, we can put the Bucks in there. The New York Knicks, those big market teams or those traditional teams. And now since all those teams are not representing or not there, the casual fan is saying, well, I'm done with basketball. I do feel like hardcore fans will watch it, but I don't believe there's enough hardcore fans that's going to get the ratings up. I do feel like a few casual fans may come in if there's nothing else on television. They may watch it, but the majority of casual fans, they're moving on to something else. Okay, so I don't think the ratings are going to be impressive. I don't think the ratings are going to be through the roof. They may be solid, but it would not surprise me none if the report comes in and the ratings were at a low. It would not shock me, not by the least, not by the slightest. But yeah, that's all I got. Congratulations to the Indiana Pacers. Congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The best team wins. I told you guys, I feel like it's going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. I do feel like this is going to be I think this is going to last 6 games, possibly 6. I would be shocked if this is a sweep. I will be even more surprised if it goes 5 games. But yeah, that's all I got. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.